Hello, and welcome everybody to the Living A Course in Miracles video call. Today is Friday, February 9th, and we are discussing Chapter 13 today of the Ken Wapnick and Gloria Wapnick Living A Course in Miracles sort of series. I'm Angela Irving, and I am in my car in a parking lot in Lakeway, Texas, but I live in Austin, Texas. And I am really excited to be on this call because I haven't been the last 2 weeks, and I got really grouchy. And listening to this chapter today was like a breath of fresh air that I forgot to breathe when I was getting grouchy. It's really interesting what this call does for me to notice that I'm 2 weeks off and like notice a big difference. Anyways, everybody else tell me where you're from and what your name is, not in that order, and what you're excited about.
Okay, I'll go next. I don't know how to get it so it's one person on the screen.
I think you swipe left.
I'm supposed to swipe left?
At least that's what I do on my phone.
I'm on my computer.
Oh, I don't.
It might say switch to active speaker.
I mean, I don't mind talking to everybody like this. Like, this is the first time we've done it this way. But, oh, speaker view. Is that it?
Yeah, that would be it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it. Now this is a little more normal. Okay, I'm Viola Krebs. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I am Jared's mother, who is the founder of this group. And I am excited to be on the call. Well, first of all, I had to forgive because I really wanted to be on the Olympics opening ceremonies, which is starting right now. So I was actually going to not be on the call. But then I thought, this is my only one opportunity a week I get to speak to someone about spirituality. And I wasn't willing to give that up. So I'm excited to be on the call. Obviously, I'm recording the Olympic opening ceremony, so I'll catch up with that. And I'm just happy to be here.
Yay. Thanks, Viola.
My name's Christian Stambry out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm excited about this call too. Because it's always nice to be a part of it and partake. And I have a similar experience, Viola, having so much fun playing poker with some new friends online and talking at the same time. But I'm like, you know what? Like, I do that 40 hours a week. So I'm gonna talk about spirituality. That's more important, right? And it's symbolic of my right mind wanting to be healed instead of just doing nothing, groping about in darkness, as Jesus would say. So
awesome. Thanks, Christian.
I'll go. I'm Sheila Sear, also from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I'm excited to be here because it turns out that Chapter 13 is an excerpt from a 4 CD set that Ken had recorded, I don't know when. So I've got the 4 CD set that I've listened to repeatedly, and this was a piece of it. So I'm interested to see everybody else's perspectives on it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sheila.
Well, I'm Rosalia, and I'm from Puerto Rico. And I'm very excited about this chapter because I've always had a question that I'm sorry, my English. The question was about why God did, why was this imperfection created or fabricated? And I answered the question myself. Well, at least I am satisfied with the answer that I got to have in my mind.
Cool. Thank you, Rosalia.
Okay.
Shall I go next?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm Langdon. I live in France. So it's Saturday here, 2:00 in the morning, and this week's all about money. And we all want to do something with money, but it was a bit like what's the word? I can't think of it. I'm too tired. That's what the trouble is. But anyway, it was apt this week because Jared and me had a bit of a chat about making money. And then we looked at what we were supposed to be talking about, and I thought, well, that's very bizarre. So we were both quite sort of knocked out by that. And but it's all about also what the ego does to, trap us into thinking things that are more important than they are. And duality being pretty much everything, really, isn't it? So because there isn't any, it's just oneness, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's me for now.
Awesome. Thanks, Langdon. Nathan, hi, Blake.
Hi. What are we doing? I'm excited about today's call because this is my favorite chapter from this collection. I told you guys about it a while back, and it's great.
Agreed.
Where are you from, Nathan?
Oh shoot, I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so it's Friday here.
It's Friday, and what time is it in Minneapolis?
It is 7 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Same time. All right. Well, thanks, Nathan. All right. So I guess we get to talk about our highlights from the chapter. I'm surprised I didn't write the whole chapter down because I took so many notes that I might as well have written all of it down. So I just chose a few of them that resonated with me more than all the other ones, and I'll read those. So money reinforces the ego's incorrect value system that either I have it or you do, both of us. Money represents inequality, the principle of one or the other, scarcity principle. Is everyone hearing me okay?
Yes, I can hear you okay.
Okay, just making sure, because I hear kind of a whoosh sounding while I'm saying it.
Someone needs to probably mute themselves, maybe.
Okay, yeah, I guess if you're not talking, mute yourself. Okay, cool. I think that's everybody. All right. Awesome. So unless you want to chime in and say something about what I just said, which is awesome and cool. So and then the next one was, let's go back to that original moment again, because that's where everything starts and that's where everything always is. And that just kind of blew my mind a little bit. Or not a little bit, more than a little bit. Then there is no first or second, but in the ego framework, God is first and we're second, and we don't like that. So we took first away from God so we could be first. Now we're afraid he's going to steal it back, which becomes a fundamental special relationship. Ties it all up. Let's see. Then the other one that I starred, in order to be a teacher of God, you have to think of shared interests as opposed to separate interests. So that's where we're going. And I have so many more notes, but I figured I'd narrow it down. So just in case we had a number of people on the call, and we do. So, all right, who wants to go next?
I will go next, if it's okay. I have a lot of notes too, and I had to finally just narrow it down because I started listening to the chapter and then thought, what's he trying to tell us? With all this money, because there was a bigger message. And what I concluded was that the chapter is about specialness. So it's our dream. And how we've used money or addictions, etc., because we've made them symbols of inequality. So we crave specialness, and which God would not give us. He would not give us specialness. So this is the dynamic of specialness. So that's what I think the chapter's about. I got what I wanted. I stole my life from God. So
Yeah.
then we have guilt. And don't feel guilty about it, Wapnick says. Because if we feel guilty, we got to not feel guilty about it, because we put ourselves in that place so that we would have this classroom that we could learn. So he said, don't feel guilty about it. All we need to do is be aware that what allows me to survive is separate interests. So we don't even have to like do anything different. Like we can keep being separate interests, and but all we have to do is choose to change our mind, give it to the Holy Spirit, to the Holy Spirit's ideas of shared interests. So then the Holy Spirit can transform the purpose.
Yeah.
So this can become helpful part of our curriculum. So we just have to make the choice for the correct teacher. The special function doesn't mean, okay, so in the course it talks about special function. It doesn't mean we need to do something specific. Like we don't even really need to do, like the course is a special function, and you think, oh, am I supposed to be a teacher of God or whatever? But he said, just make the choice for to choose the correct teacher, the Holy Spirit to heal instead of the ego to separate. So all we have to do is forgive the relationship, which is the special function, is to forgive. Don't feel guilty about it by asking God for help, because that's the classroom that he can teach us. So basically, that's what I got what the chapter's about. And this one right here kind of blew me away because it's so bizarre. So I had to I put it in pink because it was like really bizarre. It's like, okay, most relationships is like, okay, like I want something from you. I want what you have, and I resent you for it because you originally took it from me. Yeah. And I have to bargain with you to get the attention I need. And that's the specialness that I crave. And I've given you what is of no value, which is me. Like I am of no value. I've given you that. And I really know I'm in need, and I hope you don't notice. But I think you have what I don't have. And I know what you have because I made you up. Because I made you up. So I know that you don't even know. I mean, it's like so bizarre, isn't it?
It's super weird. Yeah, I like the way that he laid that out. I was one of the things that about like, I'm giving you something of no value, me. I wrote that in there, but I was like, somebody else will say it. And there you go.
Yeah, that was like, those were like the two things that like, I had to, I mean, I have lots of notes, but I think that's what I got mostly out of this chapter.
Cool. That was awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's basically what my highlight was too. Like I love hearing Ken talk about the psychological dynamic, you know, and it's kind of funny how we're pretty silly, you know, and like our ego is so funny. And I especially love that part where he's like, where you just said, like, it's like, I'll give you, you give me what I want, and you can have, like, I forget how he said it, but it's like, you can have, like, I'll give you what is of no value, me. You know, it's so funny.
Yeah.
It reminds me.
And I hope you don't notice. I hope you don't notice. But I know what you want because I made you up.
Yeah, it's like, I'll give you this gift with really beautiful wrapping. I hope you don't open it though. You're just distracted by the wrapping, because if you open it, and it almost reminds me of one of his YouTube videos where he's like, you look at the devastation, that's your life. So it's really funny.
Like he's so
oh shit, that's good.
Like mad. He's like mad as he's talking to us in this chapter, and it's like, dang, like he's so confident and mad. You know, it's like, listen, right?
Yeah, and then I like how you said like that it's like you don't feel guilty about it. Like, yeah, sometimes I do look at the silliness of my ego and others, right? Which is really just one ego. But it's not like I should judge it or get mad at myself. Instead, it's like, well, it should be more like nonchalant, like, of course I'm going to be that way, or they're going to be that way. That's how we are. That's what we believe in, is a silly thought system. And then I guess just look at it like that. I don't know what to do after that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Christian.
You too.
Thanks. Who's next? Who wants to share their
Oh.
highlights?
I'll go next, but I've got to find my notes, which are just over here on the side of my screen. Okay. So last week I had told people, did you watch the replay, Angela, of last
Yeah,
week?
I got halfway through the conversation of chapter 12. I got all the way through chapter 11. Was it chapter 12 when you talked about that feeling of overwhelming love?
Yes, and that's exactly what I wanted to refer to.
Yeah.
I mentioned last week about this feeling of the overwhelming love when I discovered that I am that love. And this chapter reminded me of something else. What I realized sometime after that point was that every romantic relationship that I've ever been in, i.e. sex, I've always done whatever I felt I had to do to get what I wanted. You know, I'll give you what I think you want as long as you give me love. Never, ever, ever, ever got the feel, well, okay, temporarily for like 10 minutes, I'd get a feeling of, oh yeah, they love me. I'm worthy. But it would always disappear and was never any kind of permanent kind of thing. And when I had that feeling of I am the love, I have never sought for that since then. At this point, I'm kind of interested to see what would it be like to be in a relationship now, because I'm single. I've been single for 9 years, something like that. And no interest, no desire. I'm not looking. I'm not pushing it away. I'm open to it, but I'm not, and I don't miss it. I'm not lonely. But it does seem like it would be interesting. I would be interested to see how I would relate to someone, because I just feel so different than I ever used to. So in this chapter, that came to my mind, but it was so, it's so interesting to see how sex and money are just so big in our lives, or we think they are. And after doing the course for a while, you realize like it's nothing, just like everything else.
Yeah. I want to tell you that when you mentioned that in the chapter 12 discussion, I had a really huge reaction to it. It really, I was like, thank you for sharing that, because
good.
Really,
I hope it was a good.
Oh yes.
And not a bad.
A wonderful one.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was really helpful because I had been grouchy for a while, and it helped me. Like, I was like, oh right, oh my God, right. So yeah,
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Who's next?
I'll go next. Yeah, where to start, really? I think Mrs. Krebs just about nailed it. Pretty much everything I wrote down, she did almost word for word what Ken said. So,
yeah.
I mean, for me, it was like, to me, it's always the ego, isn't it? The ego convinces us we're a body, and it convinces us that we need to protect it, keep it warm, buy a house for it, nurture kids. This desire for money, is all for my this, my that, my the other. There's always a reason for it. And ultimately, we really need to change our mind, and observe these things as being just what we perceive them to be. One of the things about Course in Miracles, and also when I first read Disappearance of the Universe, was the idea that Jesus wasn't special. In Christianity, Jesus is he is special. He's what it's all about, which is why it doesn't work. As soon as Jesus is no longer special, everything fits into place, because he's no different than any of us. So everything he was able to do, once we learn to do what he learned to do, we really can be as our true self is. And And, you know, what Ken was talking about was, you know, and what Course in Miracles really is all about, because Course in Miracles really only could probably say everything in about a sentence, but the entire book, as thick as it is all about telling us how to undo the ego and identifying the ego and what it does to us to confuse us into thinking that we're a body. And I remind myself every day that, you know, when I wake up, the first thing I think of, sometimes I even think it before I wake up, I say, you know, I'm not a body, I am free. I'm as God created me. It's just become the first thing I think of as I start the day. And if I remember, and I say remember because the ego tries to make me forget, I will ask to see the day through the eyes of the spirit, which is what Gary does. But sometimes I don't do it till about 11 o'clock. I just forget to do it.
What?
You know. There you go. So, but I thought it was wild. I just can't get over how Ken sounds so angry all the time, although he isn't, is he? He just sounds like he's going to come around and shoot you, you know. But it's bizarre, really. It's just that American, you know, that New York accent of his. You know, it's bizarre. But
He's really intense.
I think his wife's got an even stronger accent.
Yeah, I think she's got a stronger accent.
Oh my
but
God,
he's
his wife's
definitely the one
accent.
He's like, that's your forgiveness lesson, Nathan.
Yeah, I think it is, really. I mean,
no.
you know, you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of her, would you? Yeah, you were alive, I think. But there you go.
Yeah, you think Ken sounds tough? Wait till Gloria gets a hold of you. No, I'm just kidding. Sweetheart, you know?
Yeah, well, I hope she forgives me because I know it's just, you know, she probably thinks I'm a toffee-nosed English prat, you know. So.
I love
Yeah, I
hearing your
thought it was
speech.
good. Yeah. Anyway, that's me. That's me done.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Langy.
That's okay.
Next. All right, who hasn't said stuff? Let's see. So Rosalia and Nathan. Oh yeah, either one of y'all tell us what you think about the chapter.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me just open up my notes. I wasn't ready, Angela, and you called
Well,
on me.
I mean, I said either.
You said Nathan.
Unacceptable, Nathan. Unacceptable.
So get it together. All right.
But we'll forgive you.
So
Yeah, we forgive you.
thanks. That's what I was hoping for. Let's see. Oh, this is my favorite line. I am the clear, innocent victim here. See, like you just saw, Angela was coming down on me real hard, and I was the victim in that situation. So it was clear, but
Really?
just man, when he says that, yeah, no, when he says that, it's just like it just all rushes over me, like everything I've ever done in my life has been about that, trying to make myself feel like it justify, you know, prove to everyone, look how I have been mistreated. So that was huge for me. I also like this line, you asked God for special favor, and he did not grant the request. And I think about every Hollywood movie, well, I don't know. I think about every movie that ever has someone die and someone is upset and they say, you know, why God, why? Why would God let something like this happen? And that's what that made me think about.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Thanks, Nathan.
Well, I have to apologize because, wow, this is incredible. I listened to the wrong chapter.
Oh no.
Yes, but no, let me tell you that on the screen it said chapter 13. But the thing was, I also did it on my cellular phone, and it also said chapter 13.
Huh.
And
That's okay. You can tell us about what you listen to.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I listened to chapter 12, and I was so excited thinking it was 13, and it was, and the question that I answered was, for example, when I first heard that about the Course in Miracles and that the world was not real, and the tiny mad idea, and I couldn't accept that the thought of something not being perfect, that it could be possible, because if God, who is the one who is everything or creates everything and it's perfect, could not even bear a thought of imperfection. So I started to ponder upon that situation that made me uncomfortable, and also made me have kind of a doubt from A Course in Miracles, like thinking maybe I'm in this path now, and then suddenly something else is gonna appear that this is not the thing and something else is, and that doubt really bothered me. But when I was listening to the chapter 12, yes, really, I think about this and I say, wow, the ego is really doing something to me here and this group, because it has been very hard. Well, let me continue with the question, and the answer that I got to was that since God is perfection, God had to know everything. So he had to have the knowledge or the wisdom about what is not, or the opposite, how Gloria expressed it, the opposite of what he is. And I imagine as if it was a mechanism was created, like to protect his son. He had to create, for this to take place, he had to create his son so that could go through the journey of this thing that was not himself, the opposite of himself. And this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
And this mechanism had a protection that has, but Jesus, for example, had a protection, like to come back, or his son to come back, or the Holy Spirit to come back to be one with God. And because he could not do it, when I say he is like the source, because he could not think about or deal with imperfection, because it's not what he is. This is what I was thinking. And that answer helped me to like accept, okay, well, if I am satisfied with the answer. And then Jesus like could make them the imperfection, the separateness, the separate bodies. I even thought about, I made an illustration. I don't know if you're gonna see it. I'm gonna show it later. But for example, the Father, the source, is oneness. It's abstract, like Gloria Watnick was saying, and eternal. Then the Holy Spirit was like in fusion with God, and the Son is the thought of God. It's the light that Gloria was explaining, the explosion, or the light that goes, the rays that go, the energy that go out. And then this his son or Jesus or the Holy Spirit would be the body of Christ. This is what I'm thinking. And then this the Son is the thought of God, but the Son has thoughts, and this over here is separateness, different bodies, and material. It will be the physical body, and well, I thought I wrote so many things and so many ideas that came up with this pondering, and I was so excited, but it was chapter 12. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Another
That's awesome.
forgiveness exercise for all of you.
No way. No, we all listened to chapter 12, so we know what you're talking about.
Okay, but
no, it's totally
Yeah,
fine.
that's it. It's really easy to kind of like confuse what chapter we're on with.
no, but it
with
wasn't a
Audible.
confusion. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I find it very hard. Even right before the call, I thought I was on the wrong one, and I had to like, and then I was listening to like the last one on double speed, so Gloria and Ken are like, I had like 15 minutes.
But on the top part said chapter 13.
That's so weird.
Yes. And I was kind of confused. I wasn't sure because when I listened to your discussion of chapter 12, and I was saying, but this sounds familiar. And I kept on doing it, and I even went to the cellular phone and chapter 13. So, okay, this is the one. It wasn't.
I guess yours is one ahead. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be because
Mine's
that's
like
what
that,
happened.
too.
It said that. Okay.
I don't know. I wish I could tell you why, but I don't know.
So next week is the last chapter, correct?
Oh, wow. I haven't checked on that, but okay.
It's chapter 14, and it's the last chapter.
Okay. I just pushed on 13.
And then we're all enlightened.
And then we are enlightened.
But you know that you say that, and next chapter would be 14, and in my audible, don't laugh at that. I guess an audible. I have 15 chapters.
Let me see.
Well,
I'll show you.
Wow, this is incredible.
Wait, let me
I
show
guess
you.
15 is your last one. I guess 15 is our chapter 14.
Yeah.
It's only 14.
Let me show
Let
you.
me look for it. Is audible?
Rosalia, how long is your last chapter? Does it say how long it is?
No, let me get in so I can check that out.
Okay, see mine right here?
It's really bright.
No.
Okay.
It's probably not gonna. Oh, you can't see it.
You're
Well, just maybe
currently
like pull it back a
on
little bit. Oh, well, now we can't see it. I don't know. It's like.
Can you see
okay,
mine?
now make it go higher. Oh. Sort of. It's
Oh, wow.
okay.
Now this one, it says until 14. Oops.
Can you see
That
that?
one says till 14?
Yeah,
but
this is 14.
I don't know. When I was playing it, I could
Mine's
get
for mine.
up to chapter 15. This is incredible. Sorry. Let's keep on with the discussion.
Yeah, well, how long is
correctly.
chapter 14? Who has
How
the
long?
My chapter 14 says 1 hour and 11 minutes.
1
Okay.
hour, 11 and 16 seconds.
Okay, cool. Well, let's listen to the 1 hour and 11 minute one. Awesome.
Okay.
All right. So now we get to talk about forgiveness in the field. Okay. So I think all of my roommates, they've all been like delightful people, but I feel like roommates are a very strong, special relationship for me. And
What happened?
well, barely anything. You know, that's the thing. Barely anything. But I was watching myself making her so wrong for every little thing that I saw going on in the kitchen. And
Making a case.
yeah, oh yeah, making a hard case. Yeah, and I watched myself get really mad, and I don't know, I was just going back and forth. Like, I didn't want to forgive her. I'm a pretty clear communicator when it comes to roommate stuff now, but I also make sure that I'm doing it in a kind way, like not in an angry way. But I mean, we talked about it later, and she's really like she loves the crap out of me, which makes it a little harder. She's kind of young, and I don't know, like she sort of, I don't know. It's really interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. I feel kind of like I have a little sister instead of a roommate. But it was just really interesting to watch myself like demonize her and be like, really, this little girl, you're demonizing her, and it's just an interesting. It's just interesting to watch. Like Sheila and Langdon, you said that you've forgiven all the big stuff. No way, I haven't at all. Like, I have like so much to forgive. So but hey, it's there, and it's my classroom. So there it is. So somebody else gets to go now.
I'm going to go.
Hey. All right.
Is that all right?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. This has been a real tough one for me because I've had such a good week. It's been an ordinary week. It's, by most people's standards, it's probably been a boring week. But I just haven't had any real forgiveness opportunities at all. Not that I can think of. I can't really think of anything. Everything has been wonderful this week in a very mundane, boring sort of way. But it's been just great. And it's been getting like that since about 3 weeks ago. And when I first joined, I said then I got through all the big ones and I was doing the little ones. And then I felt like, I was being set up by the ego for a nasty surprise. And I had a really terrible weekend. And it wasn't that terrible, but something jerked my chain really sharply. And I was really, really, really upset. And but I know what the lesson was about, and I learned it well. And since then, the ego's been, well, I don't know where the ego's gone, but I'm perhaps set up for another one. I don't know. Yeah. But this week has been really, really good, and good stuff happens. I got a new little job, which is nice. The people there are all nice. There was one little chap who was a bit grumpy, but I forgave him. I thought, well, if you want to be grumpy, be grumpy. But it's been amazing, really. So I think, if you can get through all this forgiveness stuff, somebody was having trouble with dog poop a while ago. Is that sorted now? No? Oh, well, there's work then. That's all I can say. So, yeah, keep persevering. And you might all end up where I am, wherever that is. Anyway, that's me done. And awesome. You're all forgiven, especially, Nathan.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, that's a tough one.
There you go.
Thanks. All right, who's next?
Okay, I'll go.
Yay.
So 2 things this week. One, for the first time, I was going to launch a course through my platform, through my school for sound engineers online that with another teacher. And so since November, basically, we've been kind of working together off and on, preparing things, making plans and stuff. And then we were getting really close to the deadline and stuff wasn't happening, and I was getting kind of nervous. And then today he called me and said that he wasn't going to be able to do it due to some work that had come up. And I was like, shit, this is like, for him, it's just like an extra interesting thing. But for me, this is my whole business. So that was tough. And I had been practicing forgiving him anyway for the last couple of weeks because of other stuff that was happening. So it actually wasn't that hard in the moment to remember to forgive. And so I was happy that there was sort of a ramp up instead of a big surprise, I guess. So I was able to practice a little bit, and then in the moment it happened. And then there's another thing I was going to share with you. Oh yeah, so I went to the orthodontist yesterday day before yesterday, I think, to get my braces. And I have sensitive teeth, so like anything having to do with the dentist or the orthodontist is just like terror and torture. So I was just like, there in their office, hating them and like then forgiving them and hating them and forgiving them and trying to just desperately say my prayers about the body over and over again. And those are my forgiveness lessons in the field.
Yay. Thank you, Nathan. All right, who's next?
I'll go.
Yay.
I got a couple things to share. One sort of relates actually to our chapter, in that fairly recently I have decided to take over the control of my own investments. Instead of having a person or someone else look after things for me, I now have a self-directed plan. So starting December 15th, actually, I made my first purchase with my money, and I've bought a few mutual funds since then. And I'm all excited about how they're going to go up and whatever. And I don't know if anyone pays attention to the stock markets, but this week, everything kind of went, whew.
Yup.
And as of January 31st, I was looking at all my stuff. I said to my son, holy cow, look at this. My stuff has gone up 3.5% since December 15th. And within 2 days, it had gone way, way down. And as soon as I saw the news and it's gone down, and I just started laughing, which to me says, I've forgiven that crap.
That's awesome.
Because whatever, it is what it is, whatever. It doesn't really matter anyhow. For all I don't know anything. So I let that go. However, I did actually have a forgiveness lesson, which is a lot smaller than that. Angela, I don't know if, you probably did hear, I clean houses for a living. So this is where my forgiveness opportunities appear. I was cleaning a shower. They seem to happen in the bathroom. I was cleaning somebody's shower, and I was down on my hands and knees in this shower, and I reached outside the shower to my cleaning tray, which was sitting on the toilet right outside the shower, and I pulled a brush out into the shower, and my whole tray tipped over. All of the chemicals, they're all in bottles, but every bottle spilled out, every little jar spilled out, all the brushes spilled out, everything spilled out all over the shower. And boy, was I mad for 4 or 5 seconds. Some really bad words came out of my mouth. And then I started laughing because I thought, ego, 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 my God, it is alive and well in this one. And then I calmed down and picked all my stuff up and carried on. That was it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
Who's next? Let's see here.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, yay.
I've had a few things that I've thought of this week that I had to forgive. And well, first of all, I had to go back to chemo again after I hadn't had one in 2 months. So I thought, I went in with a good attitude. I'm like, well, let's get this thing going. So the first thing is the nurse tells me we have a shortage of saline. We have this shortage. Was that this week or that was last week? I talked about that. No, I talked about something different.
About the little tags.
I talked about the tags. Okay, so I'm still obviously this is not about the tags. This is about the putting blame on the shortage of saline. So in order for them to give me one medication, which is Benadryl, they have been putting it in a saline bag, and it's dripped slowly, and it's been kind of a pleasant experience because I fall asleep gently, and as pleasant as chemo can be, that's the way that's been. Well, this time she's like, we have this shortage, so I'm gonna have to just put it in your line. So she put it in my line and pushed it through, and I mean, it was such a sudden burst. I was like, oh my gosh, that picture is like blurry. I'm dizzy. And then my body was trying to go to sleep right that second because I had so much medication. And and then I was like, I need to puke. Like that had never happened before. So I had to really forgive. I had to really, really forgive that shortage.
Yeah.
And I have to talk to the doctor on Monday and just kind of explain, don't let them do that to me again. But that was a forgiveness. And then this week it's been like, okay, I've had to go through the forgiveness of feeling crappy through the chemo and not sleeping well and stuff like that. And then my mother calls. Like my mother calls. She's been trying to get hold of me all day. I haven't been feeling good. And so finally I call her back. And she's just a nice little 91-year-old mom, you know, and she's just she just wants to know when she can come and visit me. But she can't hear me. So she can't hear. And I'm like, and she's like, how are you? And I'm like, not very good. I don't feel very good. And she's like, oh, well, I went for coffee and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I'm like, I do not want to hear this right now. But, and she goes, so I know chemo is really bad. And I'm like, Mom, I am not feeling good. I do not want to talk to you right now. Like I got really mad. And it was like, I really had to forgive myself because it really was not intentional for her. But because she was just a cute little mom. And then so she's like, so I said, I will call you. And she said, when can I come and visit you? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. So I thought about that after, and I thought, this is a cute little mom. Why was I trying to blame her? It's not her fault that I'm going through this, you know, but she was just the person that I would want to blame because she's my mom. She was the face and she was there. So I had Randy call her and say, she's sorry. She's sorry. Yeah, I said, call her and just tell her I'll let her know when she can come. But then I talked to her the next day. Everything's good. But I had to forgive myself and it was an awareness of me trying to put blame on her for what I have been through, which it's not her fault. It's not.
Yeah.
So that was my forgiveness for the week.
Yeah. Those are good ones.
That's a good one.
Thank you, Viola.
You're welcome.
All right. Who's next?
All right, I'll go. But I don't really have a plan on how I'm gonna say it. It's just kind of all scattered. But there was like kind of like a lot of little things I noticed throughout the week, you know, moments where I could have like chosen to get mad or could have chosen to practice forgiveness and recognize. And sometimes I don't want to forgive, and that's okay too, right? Like I kind of notice that, but I know it's not gonna make me happy. But I also like won't force the forgiveness or like kind of like judge myself for choosing not to either. But most of the time I do choose to. I'd say like most of the things that happen this week, like one thing is that my grandmother's passing away and my dad's having a lot of sadness, obviously, because of that. And so is like everyone around me. And being a course student, I kind of look at it differently, but I don't say anything about it to them, you know, or anything. I just love them and be there with them. And I say, I totally understand, you know, and sometimes I'm not sure if it's like denial on my own part, like if I'm kind of like desensitized, but maybe in a denial way, or if it's, you know,
I think about that too.
But my dad seemed to kind of like give me an ultimatum last night, you know, almost in an attacking way, right? And I won't say what it was about, but I could have chosen to see myself as attacked and fight back, or I could choose to see him as just a cute little dad, you know, like your cute little mom, grandma, cute little dad, and that he's going through a lot. Why would I argue with him, you know? Like, that would just be so silly. So I just, did what he said, and it's all good, So that was just like one example, right? And then like, so yeah, and then like another one, like one of my closest friend is like kind of like jabbing at me for being at home for 2 months because I'm injured and I'm gonna get surgery soon, and she's like, man, aren't you so bored? If I were you, I would want to kill myself, And it's just like,
Whoa.
and like, I'm actually like enjoying myself at home, and like, but like, I didn't fight or anything. I was just like, no, I love it, and like I could tell, like, I was so positive that day that she couldn't even handle it, She's like, I gotta go, and so, and like, cause like nothing was getting by me. I was just like in too good of a mood, And, like, but yeah, so I just noticed that I can choose a lot of times to get mad and go with the ego, or I can choose to forgive and just kind of like be happy. And whatever I choose, it's okay, right? Like, either way, it's okay, but because you can forgive things later. And
that's the whole concept of choose once again. You can always choose to think differently.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because like for me, I didn't choose to get mad at the time when with the saline shortage. I didn't choose to get mad right away, but then after I thought about it, then I got mad. But
that's ego jumping in.
The ego was jumping in, but it really didn't make any sense to get mad because it was done. And so yet with my mom, I knew I could choose, and I really chose to get mad. So that was good, Christian, what you said about, and it doesn't matter either way you choose, because you can forgive later, and it's better to choose right from the beginning. But
well, yeah, would you choose to be right, or do you choose to be happy? And the choice is always yours, and you can choose again. When you've decided you want to be right, like when I was mad that first time about the dog poop, damn it, I wanted to be mad. I thought about it. I observed me getting mad, and I thought, yeah, I'm right. I'm mad, and this is the way I'm going to be. And then I settled down and forgave it. But I wanted to be right for a little bit.
Yep. That's what I thought about my roommate this morning, too. It was just like, no, I don't want to forgive her, but, later I realized, that'll make me happier.
yeah.
And you can see yourself like choosing to be mad at her, right? Like, you could probably watch yourself doing that, and then that's okay, right? And like, it's not like you force the issue, right? You just kind of like,
I'm not gonna say, I forgive her, and not really mean it.
Yeah, it's like calm down. I am calm.
Yeah, I know.
I've done that.
In fact, I've never been more calm in my whole life.
Oh, we're silly things, aren't we?
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you, Christian. That was awesome and fun. So I think.
I just want to. Can I just say that for me, the power of forgiveness, I had no idea how powerful it was. It is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the results I've got from it, my life around me's changed. People around me have changed. Even animals have changed. I've got quite a lot of animals, and they've all changed. It's just the course says, as you progress, you will start to see everything differently. I used to get depressed quite a lot, especially having a business. I think if you've got a business, you're always in a state of depression because you've always got bills to pay and you haven't got enough money coming in. I haven't been depressed for about 2 years at all. It just doesn't show up anymore. This side, this peaceful mind, it's I wish I could sell it to people. People worth a fortune. You know what I mean? but it's just taken lots and lots of practice, I think. So, and all you guys are all, you know when you've forgotten to do it. So you're all on the, we're all on the right track here. And I think that's so encouraging. I think it's amazing. And like I said, I've been doing this on my own for like nearly 4 years, like being in solitary confinement with A Course in Miracles, and I didn't go mad, or did I? I don't know. I seem to have forgotten all the horrible stuff, and I'm just wallowing in the good stuff. So, yeah, worth the wait,
Yeah.
58
well, we have
years.
To see if, sorry, Lingy. We have to see if Rosalia has stuff that she wants to share, because I
Yeah,
think she's the only one that hasn't shared.
Okay,
or
I'm going to buzz
forgiveness
off
in the
these.
No, the thing is that I don't even dare to speak anymore. So many mistakes.
No! Forgive yourself.
Yes, I have to. It's a lot of work with
and
that.
your English is good. I can understand you perfectly. Well, my mom's Spanish too, but I think everyone here can understand you perfectly. Feel free, let loose, share all you want.
Mm-hmm. Since very little, I've been very nervous. Even when I used to go to the dance, to the parties, and they took me out to dance, and I was always shaking. But even though I was feeling that way, I still dared to dance.
Yeah.
And it was terrible the way it felt, but I did it. And this, what it's happening now, I know I have to work on this, because it's like, wow, this ego is doing all these things, and am I hallucinating, seeing all this chapter 13 and then 15 chapters, and then before that many other situations, but it also has to do with this nervousness. And when I started A Course in Miracles, and I couldn't do the forgiveness, it has been very hard. And now that I've been doing it, sometimes it makes me laugh. I find it funny, yes.
Yeah.
Because this is not real, and I'm getting all upset because of this, and it's not real. But it's the little things like that happen, and I'm kind of enjoying it. But sometimes it just drags you down, and you don't catch it early, and you don't forgive, and then. But I'm working on it. It's been many years that it's not been easy.
No, it's not. It's not. I had to forgive my fear of leading this call.
You forget what? Excuse me?
I had to forgive. Like, I know what you're talking about, the nervousness. Like, I had to forgive my fear of leading this call a bunch of times.
Oh, wow.
You've done awesome, Angela. There's been,
yes.
This can't be your first time. You're like a pro.
No. Oh, thanks. Thanks. No, I've done it a few times whenever Derrida asked me to, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like, I have anxiety and depression issues, and I'm much better than I was in the past, and studying the course and other, methods of trying to help myself, but this has been very, very helpful. So I totally get that. But it's possible, forgiveness is powerful, like you said.
Jared Krabs is on. Do you guys see him?
Oh my God.
I'm here.
Hey, you wanna close this up?
The new guy. Who is that guy?
Hi, guys.
What up?
So, my forgiveness in the field is I had to forgive annoying things this week. Just little annoyances. Nothing really too bad as far as like huge, things. Had some shit to forgive again, Sheila.
Better you than me.
And had, so no big like story stuff this time, but I do notice that we've had a really good week in business, and like the fear is still there. I'm like, interesting. And it always calms me down to listen to this audiobook. And it always calms me down to listen or to read my Ken Wapnick books back there. Like it calms me down. Like it just puts me in the right frame of mind, and very grateful for that. So that is my forgiveness in the field. I enjoyed the chapter immensely about money, and it's just so ironic because, you know, everybody has some type of relationship with money, and just the way that, you know, he talks about how we use it as a separate interest thing, and just the whole key is to look at it as a common interest thing. I think that was the main takeaway, right? Because like we can't stop. Yeah, I'm sure y'all talked about that, and we can't stop using money. We can't stop making money and all that. But I do have one. Crystal's mom bought some tickets to Tom Jones for Mother's Day in May that I got to pay for. And that's not that I got to pay for, it's just that I wasn't asked. But it's Mother's Day. You got to do that, right? Like this. Anyway, I had to forgive it because it was like $200, you know. So like, but that's okay. Man, this was a good chapter. So, so thank y'all for letting me share my last, you know, last few minutes. Had a great business event. Literally just got home from dinner, and so thank you, Angela, for leading it.
Cool.
Thank you, Mom, for recording it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christian, for being willing to record it.
Of course,
Yeah,
bro.
seriously, I'm very thankful for this group. I mean, just being away, I have to be away from it again, but just being on again, it's a huge difference. And so thanks, Jared, for starting this.
Oh, my pleasure. And
1-year anniversary of knowing about this stuff, by the way.
oh my God, is it?
Wow.
Does this commemorate our little dinner at the Riverwalk?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Little
Not
side
exactly
story.
Today, but like this time. I
Yeah.
don't remember what day it was, but it was like this. Because Team Ye's next week.
Oh my gosh. Angela, I had not seen Angela in like 4 years or more.
No, it's
Maybe
like 10, dude.
10. I hadn't seen Angela in like 10 years. And she happened to be in San Antonio. She lives in Austin, and she was like visiting, and I'm like, let's do dinner on the Riverwalk. And I totally laid the whole Disappearance of the Universe stuff on her like fresh, like from 0 to 60. Like, and I just shared it with her, and she took it, and she just, I mean, it wasn't like immediate, but she really did adapt to it really fast, and really it just clicked with her like on so many levels over probably the next 3 months. And
Yeah.
you know, so kudos to you, Angela, for being ready for all this and for taking it and running with it, and helping me with this group, just like you did with the Mindfulness Club 10 years earlier. I felt like we're getting the band back together.
Yeah, I feel like that was 15, 16, something. I don't know.
15 years. Okay. So backstory: me and Angela used to be in a group called the Mindfulness Club, which was we used to study Buddhist teachings and learning about the ego, and basically we had a whole Buddhist 5-10 years together, or maybe 5 years together.
It was like, 5-ish. It was like 2000 to 2005, something like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like we were getting the band back together, you know.
Yep.
That's kind of what it felt like. So that's a little bit of a background of this call.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Rosalia, it's beautiful to see your face this time. You look beautiful. Langi, love seeing you. I know it's 3 a.m. Thank you for being on. You look beautiful as well. Sheila, gorgeous. You look like you're at home today instead of the office. You're in your nice little, looks like you're all bundled up in your robe there, pink robe.
Blanket,
Got your blanket. You got a glass of wine over there?
no water.
Okay. Christian, looking studly as usual. Got your hat. Got your poker hat.
Yeah, poker hat.
Mom, looking
I
gorgeous.
just want to show this instead.
Right? Love. Mom looking gorgeous.
Thank you, son.
Yes. Love your hair. And Nathan looking beautiful. Sexy as ever.
Woo!
Such a pretty face he's got.
That green face.
It's just hot.
All right.
So,
shall we bid each other a good night and a God
Yeah.
blessage?
One more thing.
Okay.
We're gonna meet with Gary Renard, me, my parents, and Crystal this Wednesday, Valentine's Day. We're gonna do a 1 hour session. It's gonna be exciting, and I'm gonna ask him, and I'm gonna ask really Art and Persa where they think we should take the group. Like, what should we study next? You know, should we listen to this thing again? Should we do a whole nother cycle of the same audio, or should we try and find another audio? Or, you know, so I just want to plant that seed with y'all. And obviously we can decide as a group what we want to do, but it's kind of good timing that we'll talk to Gary. And then I guess we'll discuss the last hour next Friday. You won't be here, Angela?
I will not. I will
Okay.
be at Team Again, and hey, maybe we should have dinner on the Riverwalk.
Ooh, good idea. Okay, we'll talk about that. Call me.
Okay, we will. Okay.
All right, so go ahead and finish it off, Angela.
All right, everybody. Everybody unmute your lines and wish everyone a good night and God bless.
Good night.
Good night and God bless.
Good night.
Good night and God bless.
Good night and God bless.
Bye, guys. Love y'all.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.